my name is Marley. Welcome to my book haul. These are all the books I'm going to be hauling today. This is a winter book haul, which is pretty fitting as there is currently a snowstorm going on outside beside me. I'll try and show you guys. Oh, it's just blocked by the books. Okay, well, it's completely white out there, snowing. So as you probably saw in the thumbnail, I have a lot of books to haul today. Let me do a quick count here. 25 books, so that is a pretty big haul. I tend to do these seasonally on my channel, and it makes sense that I would have a lot for winter because this is an accumulation of books I got for Christmas, books I bought with gift cards that I got for Christmas, Black Friday sales as well, and also, as always, I tend to go to used bookstores as well and get a few books there, here and then. I'm gonna try and go in order of like when I accumulated them. I have a list here, so let's see if I can accomplish this and make it not too long of a video. Okay, so first up we have Scarlet by Marissa Meyer, and this is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles series. I started this series last year and I read Cinder and had a really fun time, and I managed to find the second book at a thrift store. The first book I had in the old covers because I bought it years ago when that's all there was, so now I'm kind of stuck buying and trying to find the old covers. So I did manage to find this second one for Scarlet, but I'm gonna have to find ways to find the rest of them because I don't want to have like mixed matched covers. But yeah, this one is a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood, so that should be fun. I feel like Red Riding Hood is a pretty fun story. Different adaptations I've seen of it are always pretty like fun and dark. Yeah, that's the first book. Another one I found at a used bookstore is I Found You. I found this by Lisa Youll, and I think maybe it's one of her earlier books. I'm not too sure, but you guys might have noticed on my channel that I have been making my way through a lot of Lisa Youll's books. I'm reading all her newer stuff, and then every time I find one of her backlist titles, I've been buying them. She's one of my favorite thriller authors. So what is this one about? Okay, this one seems hard to understand, but it seems like there's a few different stories going on. In one of them, this woman's husband goes missing. In another one, this random man shows up at this woman's house and he doesn't know who he is. Might be a connection there. And then in another one, there is some other man that is like making a good impression on this girl. I don't know if these are all the same man, but it's like 3 interwoven stories. Another used book that I found for pretty cheap was There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins, and I'm glad that I got this for cheap because I have not heard very good things about this book, especially from Haley Hughes, who's one of my favorite booktubers. She's been reading these books. There's a sequel to this book as well, or like Stephanie Perkins has another thriller. I don't know if they're related, but they have similar like covers like this. She really hates them. But I love YA thrillers, and I used to love Stephanie Perkins contemporary books back in the day, so I do want to read these ones. I found this one for like probably $3 or something, so I got it. I think this was adapted into a Netflix show, if I'm not wrong too, which I've also heard bad things about, but I'll watch it once I've read this. Okay, so typical story I've seen before, but this girl moves to this new town and then the kids start dying at her school. And so it's a mystery surrounding that. Sounds similar to Little Monsters, I think it was, by Cara Thomas. Anyway, doesn't seem to relate to the title of There's Someone in Your House, but okay. Now we get into some books that I got for Christmas. These next couple books were from my friend Allie, so shout out to her. We like to do a little book exchange as our Christmas gifts where we just go to Indigo and pick out some books for each other. So one of the ones she got me was Caraval by Stephanie Garber. So this is a pretty popular YA fantasy series, and I'm trying to, you know, always be reading YA fantasy series and catching up on some the biggest ones. I've actually heard mixed things on this one though, so we'll see how it goes, but as you may have noticed, I'm not that critical of a reader or reviewer, so I'll probably like it. But I think it's kind of similar to The Night Circus, except that it's YA, and it's about some mysterious, magical, like carnival or circus. Maybe I should read more than that. Okay, it actually sounds pretty cool. So it seems like there's these twin sisters and one of them gets like taken by the carnival, and it's announced that like there's this competition to try and find the sister. So the other sister is like gonna try and find her in this competition. Sounds intriguing, so I am excited to get to this one. Then also from Allie, I got, oh, Heather's Pick, A Man Called Ove. So this is by Frederick Bachman. We love him. I've really adored his last couple books that I've read, Anxious People in Beartown, and this is one I've also heard a lot of people talk about. I don't know if it's Ove or Ove or Ovi. I've heard people say like every single possible pronunciation, but I'm gonna say Ove, and I think this is about like a grumpy man, and then there's just like some sweet funny moments with him and his life. Okay. And then finally, I do have the Hawthorn Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the sequel to the Inheritance game. I also did get the Inheritance game from a thrift store, but it's on the shelf. I'm just gonna leave it there. But this is the sequel. This is a YA thriller. I really, really adored the first one. It's about a girl who gets this inheritance from this stranger and she doesn't know why, and it's like a mystery of her figuring out like what her involvement is with this man and his family. And there's a love triangle and it's really fun. I've heard disappointing things about the second one though, so I'm kind of nervous, but I'm gonna be reading it this month in February, so stay tuned to see my thoughts. A few more used books that I got from, I think, Book Outlet during their Black Friday sale event. So I got the Toll and Thunderhead, which are 2 books in the Arc of a Scythe series. Now I'm only missing the first book, Scythe. Hopefully I can get my hands on that one soon. But this is one of my favorite series of all time. I don't think I talk about it very much on this channel because I just read it like in 2019 before I started my channel. So I don't know, I just don't think to like mention it. If you are into like YA dystopian, it's just such an amazing series. There's so many good twists and so much cool development in this world. I don't even know what else to say besides like definitely read this, and I need to get the first one. A book that I got for myself was Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan. If you don't know, Rick Riordan is one of my favorite authors. I just love all of his books in like the Percy Jackson world and all of his other series. And this is a new book from him that came out last year, and I don't think it's gonna be a series. I think it's more of a standalone. Do I know what it's about? I'm just reading them for every single one here. I don't even know how to describe this. This is about a teenage girl who goes on some sort of like field trip with her school that goes wrong, and then she ends up in some sort of like war fighting another school, something like that. Okay. Another thrifted find that I got was Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles. This is a YA fantasy series or the first book in the series that I'm really excited about. It is another sort of magical circus-y story. I've heard people compare it to Phantom of the Opera, so I was immediately drawn in. I love that. Let's read about this one now. In a city covered in ice and ruin, a group of magicians face off in a daring game of magical feats to find the next headliner of the conquering circus. That first sentence really describes it well, so I think it will be similar to like the Caraval Night Circus vibe. Kind of reminds me of Prestige, one of my favorite movies about 2 dueling magicians, so keep an eye out. I hopefully will be reading this soon. Another book I got is Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. This is the author of We Were Liars, very popular YA book, one of the most popular ones out there actually. I think it's another YA thriller just based on this cover and stuff. Again, I got this very cheap. I haven't really heard anything about it, but I really loved We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. It was 5 stars for me. Reading the back, it kind of gives me the Lion Game vibes, you know, that show, or like Pretty Little Liars vibes. It's about these 2 teenage girls and they sort of swapped identities. And so this one girl is kind of like on the run, living with her friend's name, like another identity. Makes sense, Genuine Fraud, yeah. A sort of random book that I got was The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, sorry. I have not read the other 2 books in this series, The Cruel Prince and Wicked King, but this is the 3rd one. It's the one that I found. So this is another case where I need to get the first 2 books and then I can start going on this series. But in case you haven't heard, it is a popular YA fantasy series and it is about fairies. And I love fairies. I've been reading about fairies since I was pretty young. I got into them around the same time everyone was into vampires. So I'm definitely interested in reading any like popular fantasy series that has to do with them. As with all of them, hopefully I get to it soon. Then we have a Christmas gift I got from Serena from A Wandering Mind. She got me Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a YA contemporary, I believe, or I think it's kind of thrillerish, and it has to do with a young girl in the music industry who gets taken advantage of by her producer, like someone that she works with. I think it is kind of based around the R. Kelly situation. So it should deal with some pretty heavy topics and important topics. As you guys might know, I really like reading YA books when it's about like hard-hitting topics and just things that aren't your typical YA stories, like just go a little deeper and stuff. So hoping to get this one soon as well. I'm just saying that with each one. But it's a contemporary, so it won't be that long. So hopefully you'll see me read it soon. Now, here's a random pick. I got the Vampire Diaries by L.J. Smith, the first book, which is called The Awakening. I read this whole series back in the day, probably during like season 3 of Vampire Diaries, like at the height of my obsession, because I was obsessed. It was like my favorite TV show. I read them all in like ebooks, but when I saw this at the used bookstore, the book outlet actually, my mom decided to get it for me for my stocking for Christmas. It was pretty cheap. I just kind of wanted it to have on my shelf. I'm not going to be rereading this. I'm not going to get the rest of the series, but because the TV show was such a big part of my life and this is the TV cover, I wanted to get it. Normally, you know, I'm with everyone that like hates the adaptation covers, but the actors are always so much like uglier. But I like this. I like that it has my little cast here, and I've been displaying it on my shelf, so I think it's cute. Another like cheap book that my mom got for me was People Like Us by Dana Millay. This is a YA mystery thriller that I've seen on BookTube. I've seen someone talk about it, I think. Not sure if they said good or bad things, but just because I recognized the cover, I was like, I want to read that. I want to read like as much YA thrillers as I can because it's one of my favorite genres. I'm gonna guess this is similar to Pretty Little Liars again, because aren't they all? Okay, this seems maybe inspired by 13 Reasons Why as well. So we're following this main character who has become one of the popular girls at school, and then this girl turns up dead and leaves this whole sort of mystery scavenger hunt for our main character to follow, to like get led to all these different suspects, and then our main character gets wrapped up in this mystery of like, I guess maybe who murdered this girl. Yeah, it's a murder. So yeah, a little bit 13 Reasons, but sounds interesting. Then we have some books that my sister got me for Christmas, although I told her which ones I wanted, so don't give her too much credit, but still thank you for getting them. So When Night Breaks by, again, Janella Angeles. So this is the sequel to Where Dreams Descend, which I already talked about. So that YA fantasy series that has to do with like circus, Phantom of the Opera, all that stuff. So obviously can't really speak on this one until I read the first one, but I think both covers are so beautiful that I can't wait. I can't wait to read them, get them off my TBR cart, and put them onto my shelf. Then I also got You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus. She is like an auto-buy author for me. As you guys have probably heard of her and her popular series, One of Us is Lying. I did a full spoiler-filled review and reading vlog of this book that is up on my channel. If you want to go check it out, I'll link it and stuff. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, spoiler alert, and it's a pretty like solid, I won't even say solid, like decent YA mystery, but it's really honestly nothing that special, nothing that unique. Karen needs to like mix it up a little bit, or like spend a little more time with her books or something. She's probably getting pressured to like put a bunch of new books out now with her popularity, but they are kind of like all getting to be a little bit too basic now maybe. Then we have a book that my boyfriend Dakota got for me for Christmas, and that is The Mary Shelley Club. And who is it by? Goldie Moldavsky. I heard about this book from from 21 Readers, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I've heard too many people talk about it, but I know she did. I think she really liked it. Again, I think it's a YA mystery thriller just based on the title and everything. Okay, cool. High School is a Scream is the tagline. So it's about our main character who's kind of a loner, doesn't have many friends, and she finds like comfort in watching horror and thriller movies, don't we all? And then she gets recruited into this Mary Shelley Club at her school, which is this sort of like dark secret society. And they have these little like fear tests, giving me Panic vibes, if you know that TV show. So it's like all these different dares, I guess, that they have to do. Inspired by urban legends and movie tropes. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. But then people in the club start getting targeted and murdered. So then it's a murder mystery. Love that, honestly. This has a lot of good potential. I'm really excited, and it looks very pretty as well, pretty and murdery. Moving along, these next books I think I bought myself with gift cards and with a sale that Indigo had going on. Indigo has really bad sales, but they did have one that was like 30% off hardcovers. does not compare to the 50% off at Barnes & Noble I know you guys had over there. But anyways, so I got the series of The Extraordinaries by T.J. Klune and Flashfire by T.J. Klune. This is one of my favorite books that I read last year, so I really wanted to own like a beautiful copy of it. And then this is the sequel that I have not read yet, but I'm really hoping that I will soon. Again, it's like a stunning cover. I really like it. I think there's gonna be a third one, I assume it's gonna keep going. But this is a series that is about superheroes, but it's kind of cool because we actually are following this human boy or non-powerful boy that is really obsessed with superheroes, writes fan fiction about them, like has a crush on like this one superhero, and then he actually ends up meeting said superhero and then he wants to become one. And it's this whole story. It's sort of interesting. I like to pitch it as like the love interest point of view in a superhero story instead of how you're hearing from like the superhero, you're hearing from their love interest. You know what I mean? We're really excited to continue this. It's such a fun, like light-hearted series, but there actually is a twist in it too. So highly recommend this. This next batch I got from used bookstores. I actually still have this sticker on that I'll have to take off, but I got False Witness by Karen Slaughter. She is a thriller author that I have enjoyed. I keep finding all her books at thrift stores, so it's pretty cool because this is her newest one and I didn't have to pay full price. As you can see, I paid $9.99. Ooh, okay, sounds interesting, sounds dark, of course. So we're following this like lawyer. Normally Karen's books do have to do with lawyers, I've noticed. And then she has kind of like a secretive past, and then she gets requested to defend this one guy who's like a rapist. And then it turns out she knows him, I assume from the past, and that's why he like requested her. I don't know, it goes from there. So it sounds like it's gonna be pretty freaking dark and probably disturbing like her other books. But I'm excited to get to it whenever I do. I know I have another Karen Slaughter book on my TBR card that I want to get to as well. So they're just like such heavy kind of books. It's like you gotta be in the right mindset to pick them up, you know. Next up is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I have not read her books, but these are like very popular YA fantasy books. I do like to pick up some throwback YA fantasy here and there, as you may have noticed, when I can find them for cheaper at used bookstores. I don't know what this one's about besides like a Red Queen. Okay. So it seems like it was inspired by some of the YA tropes from back in the day with like the class systems and competition. So there are like silver-blooded people and red-blooded people, and the red blood are like lesser. And so our main character is obviously from that like tier of society, but then it comes out that she has some sort of power, and so then she gets brought up to the silver society even though she's red-blooded. And then there's some sort of like competition or something for her hand or something with the princes. I don't know exactly. Correct me. Give me a better description in the comments if you know how to describe this better. But then I also got Glass Sword, which is the sequel. Someone wanted to get rid of both of these, but I'll gladly take them. And I think there's like 2 more books in the series that I'll have to get eventually. But yeah, I'm excited to read this. I know it's pretty popular. And I see this author on TikTok a lot as well. So I like her. Ready to get into a new series whenever I have the time. We're in the home stretch now here. So I picked up The Lion Game by Ruth Ware, another thriller author I have been enjoying reading her backlist. I don't think I've given any of her books 5 stars yet, but they're all like pretty solid, like 4s, I think, or 3 or 4s. I really like her writing, even though she doesn't always stick the landing. The rules are simple. 1, tell a lie. 2, stick to your story. 3, and never ever get caught. Okay, this one sounds cool. It is about these 4 friends who back in high school, like 17 years ago, I think it said, used to play this lying game. So they would like trick people and play pranks on them by like lying and stuff. And it eventually led to some bad stuff happening, like a disappearance or something. And now it's like years later and they are having to deal with the consequences of that. It kind of sounds like a YA thriller, like the concept. But anyways, should be good. Looking forward to this. And the last book we have, finally, is Lisa Jewell, of course. It is the house we grew up in. As I already said at the very top of this video, I'm trying to collect all of Lisa Jewell's books and read them all because I love her. I think this one might not be a thriller though. It might be more like contemporary, but let's see. Interesting. Okay, it might be a little thrillery. It's about this family that's like super happy and lovable. There's like multiple children in the family, and then something devastating happens, and then it's like years later where they all come back and sort of have to discover like what happened all those years ago. Pretty basic, but yeah, it should be interesting and emotional. That's something I've always liked about Lisa Jewell's books, is that even when they're like twisty and dark, they're also like pretty emotional and like have a lot of character development and stuff. So that is the last book to share and to haul. hopefully you enjoyed this probably long video, and let me know if you've read any of these and if you think I'll like them. Yeah, I don't think I read too many of these, so most of them I still have to get to. So make sure to subscribe if you have not already, if you want to see my reviews of these books, hopefully this year, hopefully I get to them, or if you want to see a future book haul or any other bookish videos. I'll see you next time. Bye.